Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's now autumn in Sydney, but we're having so much rain. Today I would like to share with you my struggle and how I deal with it. Hopefully it could give you some courage to get through your tough time. Drawing requires a different set of skills from painting, but I could quickly share with you that any drawing starts with basic shapes. For example, flowers, you can start with circle, and then all the petals are pointing to the center of the flower. If you fear, you are more likely to fail. Allow me to repeat this. If you are fear of something, you are more likely to fail. I am no different from other artists. I have this fear within me every time I start a new painting. The fear of the paper sizing show up when I almost finish my painting, the fear of overworking, etc. My nightmare came true. I found the marks on the paper that I tried to cover it up with greens and purple. Hopefully it will cover up the marks, but because of the transparency of watercolor, when it's dry, everything underneath still show up. So I decided to give up on this painting. After I overworked the background from the last painting and found the marks on the paper, I become even more scared of painting the background. So I start with the flower first, and hopefully doing something that I'm good at first will give me the courage to do the background and get a successful painting. Guys, it's still raining. It's unbelievable how much rain we get these few days. I love the rain, but you know how when it lasts for too long you get bored of the cloudy day and you wish to have sunshine. And that's how I try to create from my first painting. But with this second painting, I want to dance in the rain. If I cannot control something, I might as well enjoy it. So this time I try to create a cloudy and misty atmosphere instead of sunny. Unfortunately, I find myself follow the reference photo too closely and I lost focus on my focal point. Secondly, I find the background overwork and some mark on the bottom of the paper again, even though I cut those marks off, but I'm still not satisfied with this painting. Avoiding to do something that you are fear of doesn't help to solve the problem. Good morning! Here I am starting my painting all over again. But this time I'm using my spray bottle which I bought a while ago, but I feel the resistance to use it. These are the 4 pigments that I use for the entire painting. You might thought that I failed twice, the third time I will be confident, don't you? But no, I still feel the resistance to start my third painting because I failed twice, so I feel like I've lost the magic. For my second painting, I let the perfectionism control me. I paint by following my reference photo too closely. So when it's time to paint the background, I fear that the background will ruin my perfect flowers. And I know art doesn't mean to be perfect. I know that I need to break my perfectionism. That's why I started watercolor painting, and I love watercolor, how it flows freely. Somehow you cannot control it, but it creates magical atmosphere. With this third painting, I have to remind myself to be courageous, to trust myself and trust the process. To gain my confidence back, I even reminded myself that if I fail this time, I will lose one more page of 30 by 60 centimeters. But if I'm successful, I have earned myself confidence back to start my next painting, and a very good experience because I have pushed myself out of my comfort zone. So this is how I mix my color, opera rose and windsor blue. I grab this side, I get a warm purple, and this is a cool purple. I find it more interesting to have my color mixed that way. So I have the variety of warm and cool purple instead of have just one purple throughout the entire painting. There are many ways to paint using watercolor. Here I'm using charging technique to add darker pigment to the petal while it's still wet. Then I come with the clean damp brush to soften the edges. Or I can wait until it dries to add the second layer wet on dry technique, and then come with the clean damp brush to soften the edges again. Once you have mastered one petal, you can paint the entire painting. The key is to paint the petals that are not touching each other. The key to paint a successful watercolor painting is to use the large brush, keep it light from the beginning, and then add layers as you go. Keep the detail to the end. Here is when I use the small brush to paint the detail wet on dry technique, and then I use a clean damp brush to soften it. Or I can re-wet the petal and wait until the water absorbs a little bit, and then paint in the line. This way the line looks soft. Here I'm using negative painting. By painting the leaf, I am actually painting the white feather of the birds at the same time. I did not use any masking fluid in this painting because I don't like those white crease lines when you remove the masking fluid. This is called lifting technique. I use clean damp brush to lift the color to create the feather. When I fail a painting and then I restarted, I find that I have started all over again. But I actually did not start it from scratch. I used my first painting to trace my second painting, so I did not sketch it all over again to make the process faster. And I also have the composition workout as well. By the time I start my third painting, I got everything worked out in my head and ready to paint. I know I used to say do not to be too hard on yourself, but sometimes we need to be hard on ourselves to be able to grow. We need to push ourselves to get out of comfort zone. No pain, no gain. If we use fear as an advantage, then we can start planning before we doing something. To plan well, that means there's less chance to fail. If our plan A is fail, we should have a backup plan, but never give up. We should not be afraid of failure because failure teaches us so many things in life. It teaches us what to do and what not to do, how to be patient and how to be humble. If we successful all the time, those success will feed our ego. But when we fail, it teaches us life lesson. So why should we be afraid of failure?